Hello, happy witching hour. I don't know how I quite got on the subject of Hurricane Katrina. I started out looking at century old egg videos, and somehow I ended up running into videos about Hurricane Katrina. And it really got me to thinking. And so, that's what it was. I was looking at a video about um, haunted places in New Orleans, and uh, and then that's when I ran into the whole Hurricane Katrina thing, and Hurricane Katrina, I believe Katrina hit on August the 23rd of 2005, and I believe that something was wrong with that. Something terribly wrong. Something that probably needs some kind of spiritual attention. Um, so apparently, I guess after the waters well, while the water was there, like it's like 5 feet deep water in New Orleans, and there was like dead bodies floating in the water. And so that's a lot of devastation. And when I think about it, come to think of it, the Gypsy Rose Blanchard, her and her mother was actually survivors of Hurricane Katrina, by the way, and they had evacuated to Missouri. Okay. So anyway, that's interesting that to know that they are actually from there. And so it got me to thinking. And there are a lot of very angry and vengeful water spirits. It is. And I think that they're really highly condensed in the South. But when I think back to 2005, I remember just a bunch of crazy evil happening around that time. I remember the world changing now that I think about it. I think in 2005, let me think. I'm trying to think back to some memories of 2005. Yeah, I didn't have a lot of, I don't think I had a lot of crazy stuff going on, like stuff happening. But I do know that around that time was when it just seemed like the world changed. And like my theory is this, here's my theory. So for probably forever, probably certain organizations, people, bad people, corrupt people, they use the ocean to hide a lot of their dirty work. And I had started thinking about that when I watched this movie called Nowhere. It's called Nowhere on Netflix. And basically, in this movie, basically, it was like, it was a fictitious story. It wasn't a true story. But basically, like, the government had decided to, like, murder a bunch of pregnant women and men. And so they just basically took these people out on a boat in the middle of the ocean and just dropped them in the ocean in shipping containers. Like, those big shipping containers. Yeah, just put them in the ocean. So I was thinking, wow, I bet you that has been a place like the oceans, the Atlantic, the Pacific, Gulf of Mexico, right? Well, that's not an ocean. Well, it's an ocean area. I got my globe sitting right over there. I can go grab it and just look at the different various waters. And anyway, that's not important. I'm not getting up. Um for quite some time, like for a very, very, very long time though, I can imagine what and who has gotten lost in that deep blue sea out there. We all know about the Titanic, but there's like, I have a feeling that there has been many murders covered up with that ocean. And spirits, I was talking to a client earlier and she asked me, she said, "Don't people just go to heaven?" And I said, "I don't think so." I said, "I don't believe that." And the reason why is because there has been way too much, like I'm talking about rock hard evidence of ghosts. There's skeptics that are out there, but like you can't deny ghosts and spirits exist. Like, come on, you can, you just can't deny it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're in denial about something, you're just in denial about something. It's probably something you feel uncomfortable with, or either you're afraid of. Like, that's a scary thought to think that ghosts and spirits are just roaming around, right? But I said, no, I don't think so. I said, I don't think, I said, I believe that's a possibility, but I don't believe that. I think that these spirits, they can possibly choose what they want to do. I guess it would depend. You'd have to go back to ancient Egypt. Um, you'd have to go back to ancient Egypt and kind of study how they buried the dead or the deceased, right? Because they had like these ancient practices to protect the land from evil spirits and stuff. Um, People tend to think, here's another thing, people tend to think that a person that was very just evil and diabolical, and y'all done seen evil and diabolical, right? Yeah. So y'all know what it is. So, like, for example, when I go, my spirit is more than likely going to be a very loving, well, I'm not even going to lie, my spirit probably will be, I'll be like the goddess of love and war. I can be interchangeable, you know what I'm saying, just because of my life experiences, especially if I'm guarding over somebody. My grandmother is the same way. She's like a spirit of love and war. Like, she'll go to war if she has to for her people. But she's so loving to people that need her. Okay. Um and so, but what if it's like, when you have to think about like just an evil person, just somebody that's just evil. When they leave this earth, when they die, they don't change. Their spirit is the same. But can you imagine if, okay, so even I would say that a lot of the murders that have happened in the ocean probably was people thinking that they could possibly get rid of evil people by way of the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've actually thought about that. Like, take evil people and just drop them in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle or something. Y'all know that there's certain people where it's just like, God, life would be so much better if they would just kind of float you out to the middle of the ocean and just kind of drop you in there and kind of forget about you and just let you drown. I think that that's what goddesses like Yemi Ya or Vepar is for, like for protection from those water spirits. Because a person that's very evil, that does evil things when they are alive, they do those evil things even when they die. They're still malevolent. And so during Hurricane Katrina, ain't no telling what washed up on New Orleans when that happened. Ain't no telling what was in that water. Like a bunch of stuff was in that water. It's been 18 years since then. And a lot of the people that had to evacuate, because, they were displaced from their homes, of course, a lot of those people went to the states and cities in the surrounding areas. And so I can imagine that those malevolent spirits probably piggybacked onto them. Just looking at some of the Katrina footage, you can tell that it is very haunted. And I can tell when somebody is possessed also. I can tell. And just seeing people kind of walking around during that storm, and then even afterwards, you had to have been a very strong person to get through something like that if you survived it. I think they said like 800,000 people. Was it 800,000 people were displaced? That's a lot of energy. Oh man. Do I believe that it was weather manipulation? Nope. I believe that it was spirit. I believe that angry spirits caused that hurricane. Vengeful spirits, spirits that wanted vengeance. So, do I think that some of those spirits, like all of those spirits, were bad? Nope. I can imagine that the good, nice spirits that were in the Atlantic Ocean probably were helping people. They probably were trying to help people out, but those vengeful spirits, because the ocean is very old, the earth is very old. And whoever, like, y'all notice how sometimes murderers, they will uh, hide the body in water, which is, you know, uh, silly. But when you think about it on a larger scale, if a lot of malevolent spirits just throughout the years, just every single incarnation of human existence, boats were being taken out to just dump those people and just say, "Oh God, you're evil. Let's just drown this motherfucker." I wouldn't have done it like that. I would say if it's an evil person that is a threat to life, like if the person threatens, life, like is killing people and, like I would say probably because, before this world has been here before the prison system. This world has been here before, in our lifetime, what we know about is the police. We know about the police. We know about jail. That's what we know about. But prior to all of, that's kind of like modern day stuff right there. When we look back in history, they hung people that committed crimes. But like, I believe that other stuff was done, like probably going back, way back. You know what I'm saying? I think the Titanic sunk in, what was it, 1914? Was it 1914? I think it was. And so when you think about like I mean, they've had boats forever. Like boats have been a thing. Man invented boats like so long ago, probably longer than we know. And they kind of have been sort of, I think that there was a lot of people that thought, hey, you know, let's dump bodies in the ocean. But in reality, you know, and I'm sure that a lot of those people were innocent also, right? You could really, really, really hide a lot in the ocean, can't you? No, brother love, I've heard that somewhere before. Brother love. Well, whether or not it was the Titanic or the Carpathia, whichever one it was, a bunch of people died. Okay. Hmm. Anyway, so when you think about how many souls there are in the ocean, I think that's what it was. And I think that all of those souls are still roaming around, like a lot of them. Probably not all of them. Pretty sure that throughout this time, there have been a lot of malevolent spirits that have been kind of sent away or either done away with, sort of speak, sort of kind of. I was just thinking, I wish that they wouldn't have threw them over in the ocean. Like, don't throw people in the ocean, burn them. That's what I would say. Cleanse it with fire, not just throw something in the ocean. That's what I was thinking. Because I think that throughout the years, I truly believe that the ocean has been used a lot for executions and stuff, and like getting rid of people. You know what I'm saying? I have a fear of boats. Just FYI. Oh, I bet. I know. I know there's so much mystery out there, but it's unexplored according to our knowledge. Like, I mean, this is just us now. Like, we don't really know actually what has been explored previously. There's a lot of mystery out there. But yeah, I really truly believe, especially in the South. Um, over here, I actually really, really loved living in Decatur. And then Lithonia was a good area also. I just really love the spirit. But like when I moved over here to Gwinnett County in Stone Mountain, um, I like it over here too. Um, but I just noticed that, like, I don't know, I practice witchcraft, so I be asking for shit, don't I? I be asking for it, don't I? I be over here doing rituals with the tap water and stuff too, because it's connected to the city of Oscarville. That's where we get our water supply from the old city of Oscarville that was flooded and all that stuff. And we don't really know the true story behind that actually. But I remember I did a ritual. Spirit always shocks me with confirmation. I did a ritual probably like it was like a couple of months ago. I was doing some kind of work and I was using the water and I was conjuring spirits from the water, and I had forgot to add some salt to it to kind of clear away negative energies or to banish negative energies. Boy, let me tell you, I went to sleep. I did my ritual. I went to sleep, felt peaceful, got woke up by a spirit, and it was bad. It wasn't like evil to the point where like I fear for my life, but it was just kind of creepy. And it had whispered in my ear and was just like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be a hard week for you this week." And I was like, "What the hell?" So I immediately jumped out of bed, got my herbs and my camphor oil and banished that damn spirit, whatever it was. I don't, if a spirit scares me, I just kind of banish it or either trap it. I don't want to have a conversation with it and find out what it wants. And then it was talking about my son, and so and so I was like, yeah, let me get rid of this thing, and yeah, it was weird. But spirit always gives me those confirmations of you know the existence and these experiences for me and a lot of you guys out there that know what I'm talking about. Y'all know that it's real. It's very real. Um, but I just think that people need to be aware of what is walking around here. And I bet if you look back to crime statistics, probably increased right after Hurricane Katrina. And a lot of people could simply blame it on, they probably could simply blame it on people, like the people of New Orleans. And I don't agree with that. I look at people every single day and I'm like, this person is possessed. Like when you see them, it's not like all the time. It's not like a normal human emotion. It's very, very controlled. Like something is controlling those people. You know what I'm saying? And so like that right there, I believe that crime probably increased everywhere since Katrina. It was very devastating. A lot of people lost their lives. In fact, they say that hospital that they took cover in is completely haunted. And that that people are scared to go there. Um, and people are not stupid. Like people know how they're supposed to feel based upon versus when you're in a dangerous situation versus if you're not. Okay, people know how to sense danger. It's normal for people to have some kind of intuition or sixth sense about things, right? Everybody doesn't, but I don't even think you have to be psychic to feel like an eerie feeling when you walk into a room, right? But anyway, I think that if we were to look back throughout history the past 18, 19 years, well, it'll be 19 years in August. If we were to look back, we could realize that crime somehow increased since then. Because I truly believe that a lot of malevolent spirits, like people, ghosts, was in that water. I believe that that's what caused Katrina. I don't believe that it was some kind of, I've heard people say it was weather modification. I don't agree with that. And I'm sorry, I have to be honest. In fact, um, I've actually, well, I can't say that I've been through a couple of hurricanes since I moved to the South, but I've been through like being very close to it, like being next to Florida where the hurricanes typically hit. And I always sense a lot of negative spirits whenever those hurricanes hit. I think that it's more, I think that it's, I think that it's more positive energy from the water itself, but I also think that that water is carrying negative, like malevolent spirits that are very angry. And cuz like Florida is a trip. Like I'll be looking at videos and stuff from Florida. I'm like, "Wow, Florida, I'm scared of you." I don't I don't want to go to Florida, y'all. I know it's supposed to be all pretty down there in the oceans and stuff. I can't do it. Uh, you know. But y'all have fun with it, okay? Anyway, but I can just feel certain things, and even though I'm not nowhere near Florida, and usually when a hurricane hit, we just usually get like really, really heavy rains over here in Georgia. Um, but it's just something like we have had power outages over here when them hurricanes hit. Like there's been people without power for like weeks over here in Georgia. So we do get hit. That's pretty bad. That's very bad when you lose power for days and weeks. That sucks. Unless you have a generator. But I don't have a generator, so luckily I ain't lost my power for that long. Uh but it's kind of like typically during the hurricanes over here, I have an instinct to do home protection for real, like, and not from the water itself, but just the wind and the stuff that's being carried through the air and the water, and just people think that when it comes to ghosts and stuff, because a ghost can either be an apparition. Like I do think that apparitions are very real where you can actually see the spirit of a full person. But to be honest with you, a ghost can be an orb. They typically show up as these small orbs. They don't show up as these huge things, they actually, so you got to think that I mean there was probably hundreds of thousands of malevolent spirits getting pulled out of that ocean by that wind, or even causing the wind, causing the whole thing to happen, it being stirred up somehow. I intend to do more research on this subject. So, right now, this is just like a late night witching hour discussion. Um, I do believe that it's important to know what to do with spirits though. And I think that back in ancient Egypt, I truly believe that back then, that if it was a bad spirit, they would take the spirit and trap it. I mean, spirit trapping is very common. You don't see a lot of it on here, but if you Google it, there's a few. There's quite a few videos about spirit trapping, trapping a malevolent spirit. You don't want to necessarily, trap, good spirits, but if it's a malevolent spirit, I would trap it. Cause I think I got like close to like maybe 30 or 40 spirits trapped. Um, yeah. And I'm awaiting instruction on what to do with them next, with which I believe that what spirit wants me to do is to take them to the cemetery. But they kind of act funny about people going to cemeteries like that. You can get arrested for just going to a cemetery, which sucks because I mean, like it's a cemetery. It's supposed to be there to bury things. I think as a witch, I would like to live close to an old cemetery that is like abandoned, that I ain't got to worry about getting caught. Because I don't have to do it now, but I am eventually going to have to take all those trap jars to the cemetery to bury them in the ground pretty much, or bury them somehow. They're going to have to be buried. It sucks that they don't allow witches access to cemeteries. That should be a thing. Uh, you know, People don't realize that us witches, we do a lot of important work for people. And a lot of us, yep, there go that dog barking. A lot of us don't get credit for that. People don't really appreciate what we do, you know? And you know, I'm very careful about conjuring spirits. I'm very careful now. I've learned many, many lessons. Like, for example, graveyard dirt. I'm gonna be careful about where I get graveyard dirt from. If I feel like I need graveyard dirt, I, you know, I'll just like make my own, unless I'm getting it myself and I know exactly where I'm getting it from. Because you never know what spirits is in that. You know what I'm saying? You just never know when you're just buying graveyard dirt and people are just like playing around with conjuring spirits and stuff, and they're not necessarily being responsible. Some people like to go to graveyards of maniacs, like people that kill people, like, and take the dirt from the grave and use it to harm people. It's kind of like, uh, I don't think that's good to do that, because then you just never know like that spirit is just like the spirits that you're conjuring. It's just like out roaming around and you have no control over it. It's kind of like people just sort of forget about it. And I don't think that you should do that, because I had a case yesterday to where some crazy shit was going on. And when I looked at it, when I asked my spirits about it, they told me that it was somebody that was living. The person lived in an apartment. They live in an apartment, and it was somebody underneath them, or just in the same building as them, that is doing conjure in their apartment, but they're conjuring up negative spirits, And these negative spirits are kind of like roaming around through the other apartments. That's kind of why I don't like living in apartments. Yeah, that right there, you have to be concerned about because you just never know what your neighbor is doing. Are they doing it responsibly? Are they conjuring negative spirits? Because that's why now I believe that when you're working with a goetic spirit, I think it's totally different. But I think that when you are just conjuring spirit, you can conjure something that is gonna go out of your control and you just don't know what to do with it. Like it's just out there floating. You know, and most people just kind of do things and just kind of sit back and so that's why I think that people need to have protection, like house protection from stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You need to protect your home so that things are just not able just to get into where you're at. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of people that they do sense stuff, but they can't necessarily interpret it because they may not be a psychic medium. But a medium will be able to tell you because, it's so weird. Like I can always feel a presence around people. Like when y'all call me for readings, I'll be sensing that and I'll just be like, wow, I definitely feel something around you. And then a lot of times I'll say, take a picture of behind you, like just take a picture of whatever's behind you. And the spirit will be right there. It'll be obvious. It'll be like, what the hell? It'll show up. It will. It'll show up. So anyway, I have spirit traps in my house. I sure do. I have spirit traps to where if any malevolent or negative spirit comes in here, it's getting trapped. And then not just spirits, but negative energies, negative intentions, astral travelers. I make sure um it works for me, brother love. Treating people how I want to be treated. It seems to work for me. It worked for me for 30 something years or the 40. Look, I'm trying to make myself younger. I am 46 years old now. That is like unbelievable. I don't feel 46 though. I don't feel old at all. What's that about? I don't know why I don't feel old. I don't. I don't, 46 is not old in my opinion. So, anyway, y'all. Yeah, man. I bet you if we were to look at history, we could be able to pinpoint even things happening in New Orleans itself, things happening and bad things, bad things happening. Oh, brother love, you're trolling my chat. Time is cruel. You look different. I look the same. What are you talking about? I look the same, hun. I don't know what you're talking about. Thank God YouTube. Y'all notice how YouTube doesn't play back the chats anymore? I look exactly the same in that picture. Ain't nothing changed. I don't have no wrinkles or nothing. So, yeah. Anyway, this is brother love. This is not about insulting women's looks. I know you're probably a misogynist. Can you please stick to the subject? Why do you hate women so much? I asked you a question, brother love in the chat. Why do you hate women so much? Why do you hate us? That's my question to you before I go. No, you hate women. You said that cruel thing to me. Time is cruel. You look different in that picture. No, actually, I don't look different. Maybe it's your perception of the way that I look. Maybe my perception is different from yours. And, you know, I just think that you hate women. And my live discussions and my YouTube presence is not about your hatred for women. Can you respect that? Can you respect that my presence here is not about, I'm not here for you to express your misogyny towards women? Mhm. Or are you one of those trolls that's been looking at photoshopped pictures that make me look 90 years old? Yo, I gotta go. No, you don't. You do not love women. No, you don't. Oh, honey, no, you don't. Who calls themselves, bro? P. Diddy calls himself Brother Love. No, you don't. You don't love women. You only pretend to love women. If you loved women, you would never have a cruel thing to say to me. You would never have a derogatory. Well, I don't use filters. But why do you care about that? Why does that matter? Stop looking at them. But I don't use filters. I don't care about other women using filters. Let them use filters. So, but I don't use filters. My complexion is fine. My skin color is fine. In fact, I have been looking so much healthier since I got out of an emotionally draining relationship with somebody. Oh my God. And you remind me of him. Well, you insinuated that I look old or something compared to in this picture that I'm showing. As if you know why I use this picture, because it unites me and my daughters and it invokes the triple goddess. I'm the mother and those are my daughters. So that's why I didn't use that picture, because yeah, I was younger in that picture. I think I was probably, how old was I in that picture? I think I was in my 30s. Yeah, either almost 30 or early 30s. Oh, I ain't misunderstood nothing. We saw your comment. You in here trolling uh, under Brother Love. No, I wasn't 36. I was younger than 36 in this picture with my daughters. Or was I? They must have been, you know what? I'm trying to look at the background of that picture. I think that picture was taken. Uh, oh God, I think Deja and Danielle was probably like maybe 9 or 10, maybe 8 or 9. I'm not sure though. I like the picture though because it's me and my daughters, and and it's kind of like a triple goddess picture. You know what I'm saying? Of me and my babies. Anyway, I'm sorry, y'all. This troll came in here to derail my conversation. And you know what I'm gonna start doing when y'all do that? Because YouTube now has an editing feature. They didn't have it before the past several years. Well, not several years. I'd say maybe like the past 3 to 4 years, 5 years. You can actually go in and edit a live. So I'll cut a lot of this unnecessary conversation where Brother Love is expressing his need to troll women. You know, I think that a lot of men are being distracted by fake stuff. Uh, I think that you guys are distracted, and I think that what y'all need to do is start focusing on these spiritual problems that y'all have instead of being distracted by stupid stuff that doesn't even matter, by vanity and all of that stuff. Yeah. And so anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section about Hurricane Katrina, and I'll be back to talk more about this. Maybe even I'll do a reading on it. This was kind of like a reading, but to me, a reading, I usually, I can do readings just through, this was just a talk. It's not, talking is not just a reading. To me, it's not, unless you're channeling or something. I'm just saying what I've observed. But to me, a proper reading is either going to be done with a candle or either my tarot cards, because you get like more precise answers with that. So I'll probably come back and do a well, not probably, I will come back and do a reading on Hurricane Katrina, just to see what my spirits think. Not right now, it's kind of too early it's late in the witching hour, so I'm not going to do that now, but I will do that at some point soon, because I think it's very interesting. And we'll see what spirit has to say about it. Okay. All right, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed this discussion. Hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you guys later. Blessings. Bye bye.